Hi everybody! So today I'm going to create a sunset tumbler with a beautiful silhouette of trees and a moose. So first step is you want to give your tumblers a really good sanding. You'll see that I also applied the electrical tape to the bottom just to protect it because I don't want any resin or glitter on the bottom. You can resin your entire tumbler, but I just prefer to protect the bottom and have it the stainless steel. So I do this before I sand, and I make sure just to get some good scuff marks in there and that it's all, good and sanded so that everything will stick to it really good. Next, for the sunset, I know that I want to put some black vinyl at the bottom, so I'm just spray painting a small portion of the bottom black. And I find that using short bursts with the spray paint works best, and that way I'm trying to avoid getting any runs in my spray paint and a nice even coating. So after I got the black on the bottom, I grabbed my yellow spray paint and I'm going to spray the rest of the tumbler with the yellow. So it's always best to spray paint your tumbler the color that you want your glitter to be. So I wanted basically like an orange to yellow for the sunset. So I just spray painted the rest of the tumbler yellow because orange glitter will look good on the yellow as well. I could have probably spray painted the entire tumbler yellow. I found this out after, so doing the little portion of the black probably, because I just put black vinyl over it, probably wasn't necessary. But I thought, well, I wasn't sure if I was going to glitter it or not with black, so I did spray paint black. But with the sunset tumbler, you can spray paint your entire tumbler yellow, and if you want, you could even spray paint the top a little bit of orange, but I just chose to do entirely yellow. And I did short bursts as well, and made sure I got good coverage and that I covered the entire thing. That I'm going to do. So this one is going to take a little bit of, because it's not one solid color, what I want to do is kind of like a sunset where I'm going to blend colors downwards. So with this one, I'm basically going to put the resin on, and then I've got all these different colored glitters. So there's kind of some different yellows to a nice orange to a bright red. I'm just going to put my hand in here. I have my resin already mixed up. I only need a little bit of resin in order to make the surface kind of sticky and tacky. So a little bit of resin goes a long way. I did mix up 3 ounces, but I have other things that I can use the resin for. So I'm just going to stick it on just like so. I got the bottom taped, so I'm not worried about that. Just making sure that I get good coverage over the entire tumbler. If I have to pick up a little bit more resin, I can. Just like that. And you just spread it around with your gloves, kind of pulling it off almost, so that, making sure you don't get any on the bottom. But just so that it's nice and tacky and sticky, which isn't too hard with resin because it's super sticky anyways. But this way everything gets covered. There we go. We got nice good coverage on that. Alright, now it's time for the sparkle. So I'll move that resin out of the way. Now I had to get a bunch of different parchment papers in line, and it's good to have some extra jars for mixed sparkle because this, since we're blending colors, it's going to kind of be a mess. I think I might not go with this really bright yellow, but I'm going to go with this like more orangey yellow. So I'll show you that one. So that is going to be, I think I'm going to put that one near the bottom here and then go to orange or no, I'll just do orange and red and yellow for this. I was going to add red in there, but I think it's going to be too bright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a vinyl on the bottom here, so I'm not too worried about the black area. I'm just going to worry about getting a nice blend of yellow to orange. So what I want to do here is just kind of drop my yellow on there. Just like so. Making sure I get it on the bottom area where I want a lot of yellow to be. This will all make sense probably towards the end when I put the vinyl on, but for now we're just going to cover this whole bottom portion above the black with some yellow sparkle. Just like so, making sure we get good coverage. That's looking pretty good. And then I'm just going to I'm going to tilt the tumbler so that the top of the cup is down, and I'm just going to grab a little bit so I can just kind of blend it a bit. So it kind of fades towards the top. And I have a handy dandy paper towel ready, so I can kind of just fade it out so that not all of this middle portion is covered with this yellow. It'll still have some area for the orange. Now I'm going to put this yellow back in the container before I move on to the orange, because otherwise, there we go. We're going to make a mess out of the two colors. So I'm just going to get as much yellow as I can back in here so I can keep reusing that sparkle. Alright, now it's time for the orange, which is from Spin It. And there's glitter getting everywhere. Alright, so with the orange color, bring this back in. I'm gonna open this container for the Spin It color is not as great as the other ones, but you get more bang for your buck with these. So once you got that worked out, what I want to do is I want to cover a lot of the top and then drop it down. So I'm going to cover with the orange quite a bit of this area towards the top, just like so. And the resin is still tacky. We have an hour working time, so it's kind of nice. Okay. Now, from there, I want to tip the tumbler downward and just kind of drop some of the orange into that yellow, so it kind of does a little bit of a gradient, just like that. You're gonna find you're gonna get sparkle everywhere. I'm just gonna do a little bit of that. And just take your time, work it. As it kind of falls towards the yellow, it'll kind of do a nice gradient, and as you have less sparkle in your fingers, you can kind of push it more that way. Need more sparkle. Some areas you might get a little bit of a bit more that falls, but that's okay. You can just pick up little bits at a time. Allow it to kind of just fall into that yellow without falling off of the your hand. So it does a nice even kind of gradient down. That's looking pretty good. And just give it a tap. I could see I missed a little spot right there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my glove I had, which obviously I put in some resin. Hold on. Sometimes resin can be super sticky and hard to work with, but okay. I just need a little bit of resin. Not very much. Not even that much. I'm just going to put the little dollop here because I missed a little bit. Right there. Get a good coverage. Make sure it stays. Voila. So if you find you missed any spots where to put resin, then just make sure to add a little bit more. That looks like a pretty good ombre there. And that is for the orange. I think that's going to be a really pretty sunset. So I'm going to let that dry, and then when it's dry we'll come back, we'll spray it, and then we'll put the vinyl. So as you can see, I just did a quick spray outside with this Rust-Oleum clear coat. It's just a sealant, and it's just going to help keep all the glitter in place when you go to resin your tumbler. So just give it a quick coating and let it dry for 20 minutes. So here I am applying the vinyl directly to the glitter, which I don't recommend because after doing this I realized that it's best to put a layer of resin on top of your glitter before applying any vinyl. So just an FYI, if you're going to put vinyl on your tumbler, definitely put a layer of resin first and don't try to skip a step like I did. So you're going to see I was placing it on the tumbler and just it made it really bumpy and kind of difficult, but this was a really cool silhouette of some trees and a moose that I thought would be really pretty against the sunset background, and that's what I applied. But I should have put a layer of resin first beforehand. So I applied a layer of resin after I had put that vinyl on, and I got some bumps, as you could see right here. It's just a close-up. So some of my vinyl bent and raised up. So when I applied the layer of resin, I actually got these bumps here. But I have a way of fixing it. So that's what I'm just showing you here, is that if you get this where your vinyl folds and is bumpy, you can sand it. So I grabbed my sander and basically gave it a quick sanding. You could see Casper there. And just made sure to sand off all those bumps. Okay, now that I've sanded and everything's smooth, I'm going to apply my last layer of resin. I'm just trying to, there we go. You can actually get these tumblers to go one way or the other by turning it on and off a few times. So I'm going to apply my last layer of resin, and I also, when I was sanding, I actually ended up sanding off a little bit of the vinyl that was here in the antlers of the moose. So I just took a paint pen and drew back in a few of the antlers and a little bit of the tree that I sanded off. So if you're sanding and you accidentally sand off a bit of your vinyl, you can use a paint pen. If it's black vinyl, it was really easy to do, and just put it back in so that you don't have to worry about it looking funny or anything. But these areas here are all smooth now. I have reapplied the tape to the bottom, and I've also mixed up my heat resistant resin, which is ready to go. This is a 2-to-1 ratio resin. So I'm just going to basically use my gloves and apply the resin for the last time to the tumbler, making sure to get a nice even coat. And you're going to see that all of the scuff marks and the scratches from sanding are going to disappear with this new layer of resin. So don't worry, this is actually what you're supposed to do when you resin and you have to put another coat on. You should sand in between once they have fully basically dried. So it's been a couple days of drying, but you're gonna see right here, see, all those sanded scuff marks are gone, and it looks super beautiful once again. And it's much smoother. So, you know, I was trying to basically smooth out some bumpy areas that I had on the bottom here, because the vinyl, I kind of didn't put it on too good, and some of it had bent a little bit, and when I went to apply that first coat, it stuck up. So it was a little bit of a nuisance. You could definitely feel it, so that's why I wanted to basically sand it off and do a final, just a nice even coat. Make it all nice and glossy. And you'll see that it looks pretty good. And you don't have to worry about any of the sanded marks and stuff, because they all disappear when you add another layer of resin. So you totally don't have to worry. And now it's actually really nice and smooth, which I'm super happy about. So totally worked out for the better. I'm just using my glove to make sure I get a nice even coat. And you don't need very much because we already have a layer on there. I'm just trying to even out what I am applying. So I'm going to let this one turn and turn, and in half an hour, 45 minutes, I'll come back and remove the black tape from the bottom. And because it's way easier to do it while the resin is, you know, pliable instead of fully dried. And then this tumbler will be complete, and I'll show you guys some photos. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you, everybody, for watching, subscribing, liking, and commenting on my channel. I greatly appreciate it. Check out the Amazon links below. I get a small commission, and it helps me out greatly, and there's no extra cost to you. So thank you so much for using those, guys. I really appreciate it. And if you want to get your own Lowly Beefy silicone mat, there's a link in the description. Get 10% off all your products with the code JENN10, Jenn 10. So, a whole bunch of info for you there, but thank you guys, and I hope you have a blast creating your own resin tumblers.